two teams are heavy firepower teams, I think is the best way to put it. So my voice probably will be trashed by the end of today, if I'm honest, if it does go the distance, but there is a world where it doesn't. Looking at this matchup, Hypoc, I think it's hard to not see Acend as the favorites here. They've proven more as of late, they've definitely shown diligence, and they still have that ability as individuals, but G2's on the rise.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And weirdly enough, we have two great examples of teams kind of vying for that return to glory, right? Acend, obviously, previous Masters champions, and G2 now with this, the second coming, so to say, looking to reclaim their spot back at the top. And it's been a while. It's been a pretty while for that.
We got a walk down middle as well. Ooh, looky here. The 4-play down middle, and if there's any team that's going to know the opponents, you're going to have such a great set of mind games between these two, and we'll talk about that further, but they're very aware of this, and it looks like Starkzo's the one who's going to have to deal with it, who seems also quite aware, because they've taken A and there's no one here. And there it is. First is free, the second gets the discount as well. 3 quick kills, and Starkzo welcoming G2 to the game. And it is going to be just down to a Vova now in a 1v4. Not going to happen, and it's gorgeous work from Acend. Now, look, Hypoc, I mean, it was alluded to on the desk a fair amount, but these two teams very aware of each other for multiple reasons, but the amount of just read here is already a key kind of example of that.
I think this is going to be one of the series I think usually we don't get many of them in EU at least, where we're going to have the most tangible example of kind of anti-stratting, right? And trying to outthink each other on every round. And starting things off with the pistol round perfectly. Well handled by Starkzo to sit back there and kind of have that contingency in place. But I expect there's going to be a little more of that from G2 as this map progresses.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it. CNED going full 10s for us. Let's have a look, see what he's going to be like on that thing. G2, of course, having Kellogg's on it too, and we were enjoying what Kellogg's looked like when we first got to see him, and CNED, okay, you can scope in with it. It doesn't actually just have to be like the railgun in Quake, but, you know, why not put some style points on it? But yeah, speaking of Kellogg's though, obviously, oh Christ, I can't talk about anything because it's just bloody CNED, isn't it?
You don't get a chance.
No, he's just like, I'm just not gonna use the other button. Don't need to. Point and click adventure time. But speaking of Kellogg's on the other side, because it is the opposing jet, I would say normally in my mind I see this as a CNED against maybe Nookie sort of matchup. That kind of, you know, I'm looking at firepower to firepower. Those two kind of line up here. But Kellogg's has impressed me, but then I've not seen the consistency yet.
No, I think that's a fair statement to make. Again, early on, it was very good to see him kind of stretch his legs a little bit, but I'd say as maybe the event has progressed, we've seen him become less and less prominent in terms of actually, what's that term you used? The repeatable success, right? In terms of sending him forwards and hoping for the best. We haven't really seen him deliver.
No, now, bonus round time. There is a bit of pack-a-punch on this, where it's going to be Starkzo with the rifle, so roll that in the back of your mind. If you see him go down, which he has to Kellogg's, that's the big pickup there. Now, of course, on the other side for G2, you want to keep your 4 standing. You want to keep this clean, and so far it's not been clean because they've managed to find 2. Coldamentor and Mixwell gone. This is where it gets a little dicey in that regard, as Killers now does have that rifle himself. Zeke looking for opportunities towards middle, but that sight take's still going to come through, and I'm looking at that split towards middle. Zeke going to be a nuisance, but gets caught by Avova. Great pick from Avova there to remove that danger that was lingering and lurking. And now the 2 remain, Killers and Bone Cold. Now, Bone Cold, let's look at that post plant. He will be able to buy a bit of time, but Killers still needs some big work here.
Indeed, here's to ultimately negate this man advantage that G2 still have. Keeler's now going to swing out from behind yellow. Does find one, but looking good for the trade. Bone Cold comes through, and there you go. Actually, the Snake Bite going to close things out. Avova unable to get any progress on that diffusal, and Acend now will post their 3rd. By the skin of their teeth, comes down to utility. They're held onto in the post plant here. 2-man effort. That's a big round there, Lauren.
It's a huge round. I mean, that's. I think they only had 1 rifle for Acend at the start, and that was lost on Starkzo very early on. So for them to be able to, you know, one, filter that back through to the next and kind of keep going on and kind of pass it through and then obviously convert at the end. Beautiful. And this, of course, have to highlight, we do have the incredible Sapphire joining us as an observer. We're stealing the best talent from NA. You know, you got to bring them across. So we do have her keeping us up to date in game. Already showing the kind of early intention from Bone Cold, but this is a mid play again. G2 getting aggressive down middle here.
Look how deep Kellogg's has got already. Bone Cold actually gonna dig him out of there. Yeah, they again initially went in. Seen it now with the operators charging onto a site. So he can get done from here once again.
Look how unfazed he is. Unfazed completely. Finds a Vova, but that did mean that Zeke was lost. Now, again, we're looking at damage potential here. In a post-plant, the Marshals are going to be a little bit trickier to utilize. Not everyone can do what Cena does, but he's still just farming through this. That's another now removed. Nuki gone. Down to Cold Dementor and Mixwell. Let's see if they can do some damage. Cost a gun, cost a rifle, make them reinvest. Maybe nab an op away. Now, that'd be the ideal. Unafraid to take the fight, though. Showing presence constantly. Maintaining the element of surprise as he's ready for that next peak. Timing. Cold Dementor, stunner of a shot there, but can't get that op back into hand. So I think Mixwell's going to have to accept fate at this point.
And when handled, even losing one there, they're going to be able to recover. The operator 3 will survive. Bone Cold actually close things out there from mid. G2 now, again, with a little bit of investment, it doesn't really give them that round in hand. The buy round, at least. And looking at the kill count, I don't think they're going to have fantastic ultimate progress either. As Acend, a couple of them coming online now. Literally, yeah, Cena will have the Blade Storm available. Oh, one away, actually. Apologies, I thought maybe we got that. We've fallen in the previous round, but here we do get a chance to take a look at the economy potentially.
Here.
Okay, we can see they've bought in anyway, but...
Oh, dear.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear. Welcome to the big leagues, boys. CNED's having none of it, but played it on the corner. This could be interesting for Nuki. Does actually get away with it. Really well played to Nuki, and we know that Nuki, pound for pound, is excellent, and you're seeing as to why, dominating towards B-Long, controlling the portion of the map, but then look at where the rest of Acend are heading. Leaning towards this mid-slice, it kind of leans it back to the Viper on the other side almost. That's going to be Mixwell. Sitting deep, might have heard an audio cue or two, because he's kind of tracking the movement here, aware of what's about to happen. Popping the ult should at least give them gateway towards a site.
We've seen this recreated a couple of times. Starzone nearly catching up over there, but Keeler should be able to pick him up underneath the window, and he does just that. This ultimate, you can see here just how tricky it is to deal with. It comes all the way through that hallway onto the top of B site. Acend gonna hold fire for the time being.
Still Nuki.
So yeah, two members of G2 still up. Nuki actually down behind yellow right now. Cold Dementor just kind of backing up towards screens now. The plant will come through onto B. Starzone desperately trying to figure out where Nuki's repositioned to.
This becomes an interesting quandary as well for Nuki. Obviously, you want to give it a crack. A 2v3 is very, very reasonable. But an op and a rifle are pretty pricey too. And, he did his job, right? He held down B long, and you lose mid off the back of it. You can't do much about it. You're playing back in such unfavorable positions. So for now, it looks like they are going to go full Jame time on us. Keep hold of that up. Did watch a bit of CS yesterday in the evening. Got to see a bit of Jame playing. He loves to save, he does. But yeah, Cold Dementor joining him in that as well. Now, Acend, I don't know how well established their money is, but they could it's worth hunting out the op at the very least. Now, they've found where he is, but Nuki is unrelenting in this. Now, these are exit kills, but they are to stay alive, and they will manage to maintain the op and keep at least Acend reinvesting here. There's no big swell of cash just yet.
Well, no, two of them actually falling there will get their ultimates online. I think Keeler's managed to secure his by falling in that round. He can reset the economy a little bit for himself, but...
One enemy remaining.
That's what you see here again, because it's a concern really at this point. Nuki now up on 6 kills. Elsewhere, just... Cold Dementor's not going to be close. Kellogg's won't have his online yet. Mixwell should be one away. Looking here, actually. Going to muster together the purchase. Kellogg's going to retrieve the orb here, get that Blade Storm online. So going to try and build around that in this round, G2.
Patience being shown, bit of a switch up of pace here. They've overtaken a little bit of flak to begin with. Acend leaning towards A now, as highlighted. 3 players waiting. Information about to be garnered. There it is. Zeke now noted. Kellogg's on the other side, trying to find that timing just right. Has to commit to one of the two. The fun 50-50 you play. But while this happens, keep in mind Bone Cold is going on a little bit of an exploratory mission towards B. Now, at the back lines is Nookie. A nice positioning from Nookie. He wants to be safe. He wants to make sure they commit if he does have to take a fight. Now, Bone Cold can get quite close on this, though. The line of sight will favor Bone Cold to that extent. And they've responded quickly to this. You can already see that Kellogg's was starting to lean away from that A-site stack, and how much does Bone Cold get for this? He's called, look, I've walked middle.
Yeah.
Now, this does come down to Nookie at the back of the site. If he gets a glimpse on them crossing towards yellow, they're going to be dead. I feel as though that's going to be the case, but Bone Cold wants to catch the rotation. Cned outdoes him. Cned has just done the big kill here. Bone Cold did great on his exploring mission. That's all you had to ask for. Starkso instantly there to back him up. And now the 4v3 post-plant, it's looking brutal for G2.
Yeah, Vova down to 5 HP. Got another 20 seconds to wait on that heal as well. And Cena just going to post up behind yellow. It looks as if G2 are going to respect this for the time being. I think by the time that heal comes around, it's going to be a little too late to try and make a push for this. Especially with Starzo pushed so deep. And there you go. He's actually going to find Mixwell.
One enemy remaining.
And the way they've exploited the rotations here was just perfect work from Bone Cold. It's one of those guys, just wait, just see how, let's see what I can do. Just hold for a second. Vova gonna find one, but it's quickly traded out, and there it is. So, well done in the end to Acend, but I want to credit that somewhere between, I guess, Bone Cold having the good intuition to explore that idea, avoid kind of taking deeper swings on it, just to make sure someone like Nookie wouldn't see, so he could get towards site, kind of split through middle, post himself up into a kitchen to catch those rotations, but also Cned finding that fight on Nookie there. That was the big opener.
Almost felt like it as well, with him posted so deep on Snowman, with ultimately with the operator as well. It's very difficult for Acend to, I guess, without Bone Cold's wall, kind of traverse that area, right? I mean, all Nookie needs to do is find the first he can dismiss away, all the way potentially back behind that wall towards Hut. But I mean, we just caught the back end of it. Potentially a really nice bait there for Cena to swing with the operator and find that pick.
And as it stands, I think, looking at this map, out of all of them, this could have been quite a close affair. But if we've all watched the G2 games, they love a comeback. They love a comeback. They're like, we'll only start, warming up in the second half. Don't worry about it. And again, longer series, best of 5. So, I want to burn out early, but you would argue the map pool does lean towards Acend. They are probably the more stable of the two teams, at least with the changes coming in. G2 had a lot more to come through. They've rebuilt to this roster. The depth of map pool may be a little bit shallower, but we don't know that yet. This is the first time we really got to see this deep run from G2, which is extremely exciting. However, right on back in, you can see how this looks from the other side. Ornamenta going to be kind of put on notice with that. Maybe lose a little vision towards middle, maybe keep their interest. But a switch up in holding B now. A little deeper towards the site itself. Going to be Mixwell tasked with that, and he does have the support of Vova just towards that kitchen side.
Yeah, only with Spectre in the hands of Mixwell and Vova, actually. So it'd be difficult for him to really stop this plant from coming through, or at least this early site control coming through. Zeke, that's going to find Nuki on the other side of the map. That's over on A side. Kellogg's still there to try and hold down the fort, but the hit is elsewhere. I think G2 now relaying that information off of this wall going down here. Vova, that's going to counter. Look at that. It prevents the plant from going down.
That's quite tasty. Now, something else I'd love to suss is that Zeke on Reyna was my big tick in the box for him when I first got to see him on the other side, of course. However, now we still have this retake coming in. Rez comes out, Quadamenta back on his feet, but they need a frag and fast. These post plants aren't being removed. This could help it, though. Ult now popped. And just as the smokes and the walls dissipate, Bone Cold's waiting, has seen Ned to find Kellogg's, and this is just clinical stuff from Acend. It's 7-0. G2 looking about as reliable as the Twitch stream right now. And I mean, what are you meant to do with this? It's been pretty well-rounded from Acend. They're just doing everything right. G2 aren't, I wouldn't say, doing anything particularly wrong. I think just pound for pound at the moment. Acend are just a little stronger.
I mean, Acend as well, just able to manipulate all the right areas of the G2 defense and create their own opening, right? It's not as if they're really just taking these opening battles. I think back to that round with Bone Cold and Stars are able to position themselves even before that spike plant comes through on B site. A little bit of a switch up here. 3 members of G2. He's over towards A, anticipating now that the Acend are going to explore somewhere else. Cold actually going to walk through on mid, and Avova a little late back up to Kitchen. Nearly actually catches him. Will catch the headshot through the wall. Mixwell will deal with that though.
Yeah, I like the ooh, no, not now. Gilles denied at least maybe the plant he wanted. We'll have to adjust slightly. Might make the lineups a little trickier, but Bone Cold's down anyway, so what does it matter in that regard? Maybe Stark, so would have to just keep that in mind if he's got some sweaty lineups. But let's look at what they have to work with on this retake. Marshall still, Sheriff, and a couple of rifles. So Nuki and Mixwell might be the ones to pull the timing. Seen it. Uncharacteristic miss. It's a one-off once in a while. It does happen. He is human, believe it or not. And here we go. Already over. Great work towards one, but there it is. Instantly denied. Instantly shut down. Zeke, though, gonna have to deal with some more pressure. 3v3. Seen it. Another miss from him. I always just expected to hit at this point, but Stark so put down. G2 finally pulling off the retake.
Will get themselves on the board on the back of Nuki, really forcing the issue onto Yellow there. You can see him actually shaking his head. He's not happy at all about that round. Having to take things into his own hands. And lots drawn out, though. I mean, other than the revive, again, the Hunter's Fury invested, yes. Again, interested to see how that second cycle of ultimates is going to look on both sides of the coin, actually. The 2 really nice kills, actually, for Nuki to close things out. And Nuki back on the Empress. Mixwell one off the Viper's pit now, and actually, yeah, everything but the revive. Uncle one away from his as well, actually, so possibility to get that online here in a post-plant scenario. Nuki, he's so deadly from this Pipes position, man. Just time and time again. Keyless immediately respond with a revive, but Zeke actually going to trade things out here. And after the revive, Acend will have a man advantage.
It's quite nice, this little Rainer battle going on, isn't it? Now, as you noted, the res did come through. Alt just got to invest. He's going in with the op and switching out to just get the old Sheriff on the go, but they are actually peeling away from this. I'm looking towards that spike. I want to see Kellogg's. You mad lad, just goes for a bit of, you know, rope play, a bit early in the day for it. Bone Cold's going to find him. And now 5v3, Coldamenta over and Mixwell are like, well, I thought we had some decent control here. Bone Cold's found Coldamenta trying to re-aggress, refine that information, and still going to keep some players present. CNED isolates Mixwell. Acend running just rings around them.
They are. Like I said, once again, just creating their own space on the back of these opening engagements. And Avova has slipped through undetected. See if Zeke's considering the possibility at all of this. No. Is the answer to that one. But again, just such a well-handled round from Acend here. I think Kellogg's there. It's kind of symptomatic of being desperate to get onto the scoreboard, right? I mean, he's 1-8 right now. He's not really had the opportunity to even find an advantageous opening or even a clean gunfight, right? And right there's the round where, you know, 1 every 3 rounds he's got the operator online, and actually going to have the repurchase here once again with 2 Spectres elsewhere. Now, this is a concerning thing when it does kind of become that crutch weapon, and it's such a huge burden on the economy. As on the flip side, right? I've seen it can keep buying these, right, over and over again. Yeah.
I mean, he's not got many worries in the world right now. And I am seeing a pause, I think, coming in. So, not sure what that's all about. Hopefully it gets resolved. But as it stands, I think this is the one worry when I was looking at these 2 teams. It is a technical, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with this. Once we get word, we'll let you guys know. Maybe someone's, I don't know, spilled the milk. But at this point, when it comes to best of 5, it's a long-form game, right? But the early ones I kind of assumed would be, well, it's really closer, but you'd want them to be the closest of the matches. You know, when you're looking at a map pool, when you get towards the tail end of a best of 5, it's when it gets skewed, right? It's normally whatever's left over. Who picked this one, though? Let me have a little peruse as to who had the pick of this map. It does seem as though we're coming back on screen, so this might be a little bit longer than any of us wanted. But let's have a little peek. Do you remember who vetoed into this?
I was just frantically scrolling, actually, yeah. So this was G2's pick after Ascended banned Breeze.
I see. That makes sense considering how the games have been for, you know, G2 on this map as of late, but I guess different opponent, right?
Yeah, it is. And no, we were talking about this as well when we saw this kind of pop up in the chat. Again, looking back at the previous compositions, and there has to be kind of two sides to it for me when you're playing against, especially with Cena in the form he's been in recently. You need to have a composition to directly address it, or a strategy in place to kind of negate that possibility, right, of him just running rampant in the early round. And it's not necessarily been a huge factor so far, but when that's kind of the second or third layer of the strat for Acend, and you know, they're initially their win conditions aren't coming online for them, there's still a big concern. If you don't have anything to lean back on, if you're G2, and I look towards, you know, players like Kellogg's coming online, I'll come out and say it, right? That's got to be the first port of call to counter that. And
this is the thing, as I said, we got to check in with G2 really quite early on in this, I think, when it was, you know, as said, super early in the run. And he was very impressive, but we don't know how he looks against, you know, big teams that make it very hard to be, you know, a Jet. And if you have a team that has someone like CNED on it, you're very aware of how someone wants to play with that, how they want to try and get aggressive, find room, take space, take, you know, potential fights, be the instigator. And if they're aware of how to shut that down, I mean, pound for pound, there's a lot of firepower, again, on Ascend. I can't say it enough. Every single one of those players can be a gunner, right? I don't look at them and go, oh, well, you know, I guess Starkso's a bit weak. Oh, no, they're all like god tier. So there's no easy opportunity. So again, I think at this point, I want to see what G2 have depth-wise, because that's going to be the big test now is, well, how much does this start to hurt? Because we did see them pulling off comebacks. I think, you know, to get to this point, they pull off a couple, but not quite to this extent.
No, I think that's fair to say. And it's interesting to hear Mitch and Tom kind of dial into these direct matchups, right? And the interesting one for me is coming down to Bone Cold, and I mean in this composition specifically, obviously with Avova playing Omen elsewhere and that controller role, it's the anchors, because Avova has been huge for G2, absolutely massive, and Bone Cold conversely isn't one that, you know, more often than not is relied on, but has come up and delivered for Ascend, right? I mean, it's not often really that you see the rounds that Ascend come out, where it comes down to these scrappy back and forth and it comes to a 1v1 at the end. G2, on the other hand, I think actually comes down to, obviously, we know Nuki's come up huge in these 1vx situations, as the desk already said, and Avova as well, bailing them out. But Bone Cold, man, he's one that I think, you know, can sometimes go unnoticed, but insane player. And when you think about, like I said, that being the second or third layer to this structure that Ascend bring, it really that speaks volumes to the success they've had against various teams.
No, you're bang on. And just to keep you guys informed, it does seem as though it's like a ping issue. So, you know, we love internet problems because they always get resolved quickly.
Yeah.
For Ascend. So hopefully that all gets fixed up for them, and hopefully it gets back underway. As soon as we know anything, we'll let you guys know. Obviously, we're just kind of operating in the dark, but, you know, maybe a quick little router restart, and it'll be all fixed up. Turn it off and on. We'll see. I mean, I don't know who it is at this point, but obviously,
I was just saying, I don't think we do know who it is, but yeah, it's I hate to see it, but this is online. I mean, it wouldn't be a grand finals without me and you getting a tech pause, right? I think
best of five, boys. It's going to be long enough. Leave us alone,
This now means
please.
that we're probably due an overtime or two to complete the full recipe. If that's on your bingo card, you can already tick that one off, I guess.
Please don't start playing bingo with casters. We're repetitive enough as it is. Please don't. It makes us very insecure. You know, like when they bring up Beast on the desk, you see Mitch's poor little face just crumble up a bit. He's emotional about it. Especially when you get a highlight video that has you saying it like 5 times.
Couldn't be me.
No, we never get repetitive when you're casting
the
same game, same map, same teams.
Over and over.
Over and over.
Yeah, I mean, that's gives birth to phrases like Shiko, I guess. So it's not really the worst possible thing, right? We start innovating.
Yeah. It's true, and I do want to bring Ender into the Shiko gang. I feel as though he can be my North American spy. You know what I mean? He's out there doing his little casting. I'll get him into the Shiko gang, and he'll infiltrate. But it does seem as though we are ready to go back in game, or are we going to a break? Where are we going, production?
Okay, to game.
Oh,
fantastic.
They're saying game. Oh, it looks like we're being treated to just a small tech pause. Hopefully, don't have many more worries. Hypoc, we're back into this, and hey, look, CNED's beating Kellogg's again.
Here.
And again, this is just a good read here to see Acend set up like this. CNED playing so deep in spawn, anticipating either the possibility of some early round aggression or looking for that operator pick. And actually, Coldamenta will find CNED and Bone Cold through that mid smoke, so we'll respond and give G2 an advantage here. No res available. So Keyless, Starzo, and Zeke gonna have to play this one out themselves.
Starzo and Keyless. This doesn't look
enemy
good.
remaining.
Yeah, Coldamenta,
Spike
sharp
down,
there.
Attacker spawn.
And it's on Starzo. First kill is going to be brutally hard as well, but I mean, Mixwell is lower HP, I guess, but even then. Okay, let's say dip back around, trying to clear out everything that seems logical, but Coldamenta's going to be in his spawn. You're not going to get past it. Well recovered by Coldamenta after that first pick did go against G2.
So unfortunately, I don't think Mixwell was able to catch an upgrade there. So still on the Spectre, unless financially we can get something else going for him. But it's not been a good defensive half here for Kellogg's. It's fair to say. Again, just read perfectly. Acend sitting so far back, not looking for this early engagement towards A or B. And they have been fairly slow and methodical, even in the times they have pushed towards B and mid. They've been kind of these lurks with Bone Cold slipping through, Starzo finding positions behind Orange. I love that. That adjustment there from Acend. Nuki actually going to come close
Nuki.
once again. Caught up in the slow orb. Not punished
Dangerous
just
game.
yet.
How's he gotten away with that, Hypoc? Gets one, doesn't get quite far away enough to be able to double down and get a second, but I really thought there was some more potential to that. Yeah, it looks like G2 have finally woken up. Bit of a fight back in them. The word comeback was heard echoing around, and they've suddenly woken up. Bone Cold and Killers now, once again, not a favourable position. You can't really even back away from this yet. You've got that Kellogg's holding that backside, and now just Bone Cold. A 1v4. So easy.
Find the first. Coldamenta and Mixwell, the two left to deal with here on A. Actually going to find the second here.
Coldamenta?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mixwell. Thank you.
I think Coldamenta just tried to slip past that snake bite, maybe get behind gate there with
Last
Kellogg's
round in the
looming
half.
back in spawn. Made it interesting at least. Again, I love that. Just at the start there, it's the perfect read again. Nuki always plays aggressive on that pipes position, and that time actually pushing through towards Maze, and simple bit of utility keeps him locked up. Yes, he finds the first blood, but he's easily dealt with, right? He's not able to dismiss all the way back onto site, into that safety net. See Ned? Straight up on top of Tube here, unable to catch Coldamenta, nearly caught him with the owl drone actually in hand. They'll get this space nice and early here, Zeke.
Ooh.
Standing ahead.
Well, that could have been a beheading then. Let's see what they get from this mid play. Kellogg's is having a rough game so far. If they've managed to isolate him here, but look at these positions coming out deep in spawn from Coldamenta. They've let them take mid control, but Kellogg's this time does find killers, so good for him to at least stabilize on that. That's excellent work. Lovely adjustment. He knows there's another. Not going to get a clean shot on it, but he knows where Zeke is. And Mixwell's got his back too, so Mixwell going to lean over here, catch Zeke as he tried to make the move across, and it does leave just seen at 53 HP in a bit of a dream. Not quick enough this time. Mixwell's gotcha. And G2 build back just enough for a buffer.
Yeah, and a buffer at that. It's the best of a bad scenario, if you ask me. Last few rounds going pretty comfortably in favor of G2, even with Acend making a little bit of an adjustment to how they wanted to approach these early rounds.
Spike down B.
Again, I gotta say, kind of gives them I don't want to say a fighting chance, but at least the opportunity to build back in. I mean, a pistol round and a round 2 conversion puts them within touching distance here.
Oh yeah.
And that's a big statement considering how that half felt for the first 8 rounds, 9 rounds.
Yeah, it was brutal. And away we go. G2, let's look on your attacking side. Let's see what we've got to bring here. I want to see some fire coming out from Kellogg's, and he's just been absolutely put to bed. Tucked in, Zeke gives him a little kiss on the forehead, says, nah, mate, have a little nap. See you next round.
Sit.
But CNED, yeah, forced away, gets the heal. He'll be popped back up to decent HP, comes right back on over. So, player advantage to begin with.
And G2 will pause momentarily as Zeke actually goes hunting here. He's going to find the first there on the
down
ropes.
A.
The single most tilting way to die.
It just looks ridiculous,
Yeah, it
doesn't
does.
it?
It does.
The slow little creep over on the ropes. Like, what is this? Oh, dear. CNED. Here. Like a double dink just comes out. These players are so good. Cold Dementor and Mixwell. I mean, it's on see if Cold Dementor can maybe find some space, pull a rotation, allow some room. That's
Okay.
going to do it. That's a good
Revealing
start.
area.
Second's going to be the tricky one, though, because now they're very aware of it. This is where you got to look at what Mixwell's going to do, right? Can he then find some room? What does he want Cold Dementor to do
30
more? Maybe
seconds left.
catch that additional player. Okay, spots out another. That's Killer's noted. Now Mixwell needs to start making his move as well. This is kind of indicating, it's kind of implying that they want to either go mid or maybe split towards B, catch a rotation. Cold Dementor trying to play behind enemy lines, give maybe Mixwell a fair
enemy
fight
remaining.
towards the side, but Cena does not care for fair, he just wants the round. 10 seconds, and Mixwell, he ain't gonna get it. A nice attempt at the end, but it will be the first for Acend, and that's not good news for G2.
Good news at all. Really, I mean, expect G2 to try and play this one pretty quickly to get themselves either the full reset or we see force anything in there. But with the kill count in that pistol round, I don't think it's fully advisable. Ooh, as I say that, Luki. Okay, considering the Spectre, that looks like it'll just be a couple of sheriffs on the side of G2, and an all-in A piece once again. CNED now. The Marshal posted up. And opens things up straight away.
I just want this guy's aim, man. Like, please. What does it take? Probably hard work, dedication, and refining your craft. But, I don't have time for that. But apparently CNED does! 3 kills! And he looks like he's barely broken a sweat. He's just sat there, welcoming them in. And it's double digits now for Acend. And as it stands, G2 needs to get off to a cracking start once we get to the bye round.
They do, yeah. Whether or not Acend want to play this one
Here.
a little more
Here.
proactively. Whereas they're actually going to sit fairly deep here, and G2 set up
Enemy remaining. Spike down.
across the map
A.
here. A little bit of a default, so I guess positioning to kind of greet that aggression here, but again, the dash straight onto B lane here. Kellogg's all the way on top of green.
Interesting positioning. And we were talking about this combo between Zeke and CNED. I want to see if that ever kind of rears up again. Haven't seen it in a minute, but they do start getting that synergy together. But Kellogg's with a really valuable pick. Takes down CNED. Mixwell's control towards middle begins to begin. And that's begins to begin. Bloody great casting.
Yeah.
Here.
Those are words. They are.
Yeah, crushing it. But as it stands, this is a great opportunity. The first time they've had a really good start to around that opening pick, but it is the bonus round for Acend, so this is how it should be. But for Kellogg's, maybe a confidence booster is something he needs.
Last player standing.
Lucky will do a star though, and Bone Cold will fall, and 4 survive for G2.
Clean enough.
Yeah. More than you can hope for in this round with Acend already on double digits, but CNED, I'm assuming something is looming here in the forms of a purchase.
Drop AVP, man.
Miens.
Last player
Yes,
standing.
Drop. Yeah, this is the one that matters. This is the one that counts. We have to see what the buy is going to be like coming in for Acend. We are looking, ops out for CNED. It looks like a 3-2 split towards at least A, as the spike is in the hands of Avova. But keep in mind, middle definitely be kept safe with Starkso there. But Zeke, unafraid to kind of puff out the chest and lean a little forward, wants to be a nuisance and happy to potentially take on plenty. It's CNED find Kellogg's to start with, and welcome back to the bye. CNED does not care for what you want. You had a couple of nice rounds, so what? CNED now locking down the next step here. The adjustment, 2 peeks at the time. He spotted both. He knows where both are now. That third could be a problem, though. Mixwell split from the pack towards B. That's going to be bone cold to handle him if he does come through. CNED's very aware of the angles he has to be worried about, but he's happy to take this mission on himself. But here goes Mixwell. Let's see what he looks like trying to find some space. Not so good.
Just getting shut out here, and now I think Acend have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Starzo going to post up here. Anticipation of Cold Amenta. Just actually, we'll get the better of him. Starzo will fall.
1 enemy remaining.
Yeah, Bone Cold will respond, and that's the spike down now with less than 30 seconds left. It's a tall order for Cold Amenta. Again, look for him to potentially do some damage, but with this round score, it's not even really that big a deal.
Yeah, it's hard to talk, you know, economy impact when you're going to be on 11-5, right? It's like, oh, it cost him a couple of rifles, right? They need 2 more rounds. G2 needed this one. I feel like this could have been such a big round for them, that big momentum swing right there. One back into it, but this will go to Acend, and it will be 11-5. Keep in mind, though, if you're just tuning in and you wonder why we're not getting too overly excited, because it's a best of 5. We have a long series in front of us. This is going to be, well, I say potentially a long series. We'll have to see. As it stands,
I hadn't consulted the script today, actually, to see.
Yeah, what's it looking like?
When we were getting out of here. I mean, according to Mitch, this is a sweep, right?
For who? Who did he back?
He wanted to send, which actually probably means G2 are going to win, right? Because Mitch has never got a prediction right.
Oh, the comeback starts now. Yeah, Spot. Bloody done that to us. In we go. Let's see if that death grip continues here. Now, it looks like CNED's going to be forced off again, playing against CNED without... I guess Nookie kind of has like somewhat of a flash to an extent. It can force people off angles, but it's not really being utilized as such, so you're going to be depending on Cold Amenta to be the one to keep him under pressure or keep him at least uncomfortable. Because it looks like a 4-play burst here, and CNED's still able to re-aggress to this, finds one in between the timing. He's going to stick around, and why not? He can do that, finds a second. Cold Amenta's dead. He's not going to move. He's going to sit here and wait. Avova's on the other side. He's not sure if they've crossed to yellow yet, but he can clear that back out if he wants to. Nookie's caught off Bone Cold, so there's still a bit of danger lurking in the depths, but it's now just Avova, and CNED's kept track of this. Look at him. He seems so aware that, well, he's probably in yellow. Killer's by his side, just jiggle peeking both angles. There's no clean fight here, no fun fight for Avova. Looks like he's going towards CNED for now. Next step could be the death, and it is. CNED unfazed, unpressured, and unaware that this team was meant to have a closer game. 12-5, Acend making it look so simple.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to summarize this. Is again, it comes down to, with them having such a successful attacking half, CNED can do this on defense now, and unfortunately G2 just don't have the tools to pull him off these angles, right? Yes, the Aldron comes through, he gets the information, but there's nothing really to create an opportunity for somebody to get a favorable peek onto CNED, right? Or even to force him back. And the way that CNED plays, we know that he will stick around with that dash. As I say that, he was about to just walk through maze with the operator there. Nookie actually drops, and there you go. CNED. Blade Storm online now, looking to punish.
Oh no, he's chasing them! Kellogg's, he can't even get away! And he's still facing this. CNED finally goes down to a judge of all things, but Starkzo's holding the backlines. Killer's going to fill that gap. As Cold Amenta and Mixwell called upon on the impossible task here. I mean, it's